Hello YouTube. Hi, this is the TrulyStupidNewb. I'm here to report that I finally finished releasing my very first game. And it's been a long time coming because for the last 10 plus years, I have been trying to make indie video games, but I kept failing every single time because either I would drop out, or the rest of the team would drop out, or we would all drop out. We were overly ambitious, and we didn't know how to set schedules or goals or milestones. So it all ended up in failure. So if you're an indie game developer, I'm pretty sure you'll understand that releasing a game is very difficult. And I'm probably one of the worst out there. Like, definitely not good. The game I released isn't actually that great, but it was sort of a hook back into reality to say, okay, so I've been failing every single time. I'm going to make something very simple just to get into good habits, so I actually work on something I will actually release. Just to give another example of how bad it went, the project I did before this one was an MMO all by myself, which is completely insane. You would think I've learned something over 10 years, but no, I tried to make an MMO by myself. And the thing that really stopped me was like, okay, I have to maintain a server 24/7, and that's pretty tough, And I didn't know if I was ready to keep my computer on or pay for a service, and I was like, I don't know, maybe MMO is too much for me. So, as you can see here, this is a Mimu emulator, so this is not actually my phone, but it's on the computer. Right here we have a game called Dorn's Dungeon Crawler. I know you're probably thinking that's a stupid title, right? Yeah, it is, but oh well. So I'm going to open it up, made with Unity. And now we're greeted with terrible art. That's another thing about developing video games. One of the biggest hurdle I had was I was not satisfied with my quality of game development. Like, wasn't happy with my music. I wasn't happy with my drawing. I thought, okay, so I'm gonna steady, I'm gonna steady, and once I get good enough, then I'll make the game. I've been drawing since I was about 20 years old. Not very good. And the sad thing was that I didn't put enough effort into drawing to really make a difference and improve over the years. There was a few years where I put like 4 to 5 hours every day, but that was a long time ago, and my drawing actually has gotten worse. Like, I showed my friend some of the pictures I did for this game, and he's not very good at drawing either. Like, we're both not very good, and he said like the only thing he said, well, you should like practice gesture drawing because your characters look dead, but that didn't stop me from releasing the game because bad art is still better than no art, in my opinion. I mean, that's a terrible way of saying things. A lot of gamers, they complain like, you shouldn't release a game if it's bad. That's kind of true, especially if you have a reputation. But like for me, I have no reputation. I have never released a game. They'll be like, "What game?" There's no game. So one of the biggest hurdles I had to overcome was finally admitting that I will never be good enough, and maybe I will be good enough, but that's like a bonus. Right now, I'll just work with what I have. Alright, so this game is made in Unity, as you saw from the splash screen. I've been working on Unity and Unreal for a few years. I choose Unity because I believe it's easier to quickly release a game and have more experience with Unity. Maybe Unreal's faster, I don't know, because I'm not good enough to be able to release a game very quickly. So yeah, I do have some free assets I used. Another hurdle I had when I was developing games was I was either relying on other people to help me with the game, or I refused to use other people's middleware assets. I want to make everything myself, completely customize it, and that really slowed me down. One thing about working about a team is most indie game developers or indie wannabes, they're not going to follow through to the end. Like, I joined a bunch of teams and one of them I actually dropped out because I made excuses. I said I didn't have enough time, but in reality, I was just not ready to commit that much, and I made the mistake of joining a team without being ready to be fully committed. So if you're working with teams, if you're not paying your team members, don't expect too much from them. If you're paying your team members, make sure they have a history of being able to finish projects. Otherwise, you can pretty much guarantee that someone's gonna drop out. Even if it's your girlfriend. I had my first relationship was with someone who was pretty good at drawing, but better than me. I was like, hey, let's make a game. We're so excited, and then she made one drawing, and she's like, I'm tired. So, you don't even let your relationships make you think that you're gonna guarantee they'll stick around to keep on your project. Anyways, so yes, I'm using free assets. I list assets, so if you are interested in some of these assets, you can go check them out. I did all the card drawings, I did all the music, except for the victory music and the game over music. I got that from one of these sound packs. And I didn't do any models. The models, I just created basic blocks out of Unity and put a texture on it, very simple. Alright, so... Oh, there's a save feature in this game. That took a little while, but it wasn't so complicated. So I was intending to draw custom drawings for each dungeon. But over the years, I haven't been practicing my environmental drawing, so my drawing hasn't been very good. As you can see from the title screen, it wasn't very good. So I saved some time by taking in-game screenshots of the dungeons. And the dungeons are pretty much built of the same materials, but just have the different texture on it. So the different floor, different walls, different ceiling, but it's pretty much the same thing. So these are the drawings I did. One of the biggest weaknesses I have is I'm not very good at design. I'm not very good at gesture. I'm not really good at coloring. Like this was way too saturated, and I tried to desaturate the environment, and it still looks like a mess. And a lot of these characters, they don't look like they're part of the same universe, as you'll see in a few. Well, if you played this game, you'll see like they don't have a recurring theme. They don't look like it's just kind of random characters just pop it all together, sort of like cross stitch. Very bad game. Anyways, yeah, and I'm too lazy to make a tutorial either, so I just created a written tutorial. Actually, the tutorial isn't even correct because there was one thing over here. I changed this part, so this is no longer accurate. So whatever. Yep, that's a tutorial. So for you who subscribe to my channel based on my music, this track I don't think is on my channel. But it doesn't mean that I started writing music again. Actually, I did not start writing music again because I was preoccupied with making this game. I reused old tracks, but this is one of my unreleased tracks that did not appear in the channel. It's very old, very, very old. In fact, if I wrote music right now, I probably won't be as good because I'm totally rusty. I haven't been doing it for years. So you may be wondering why these buttons on the corner look a little different than these buttons. This is because when I was cleaning up my project, I deleted all the assets I didn't think I need, but it turns out I needed these corner assets, and I deleted it by accident. So I said no problem because those are free assets, right? So I went back on the store, and guess what? They're now paid assets. So I had to Google turn sign, and actually I went into Clip Studio Paint, and I did some editing to make it look like the same color, and but I couldn't make it the same style. As you can see, they're very different icons. So when you delete assets, make sure you don't need them. Like double check, because if you do, then you end up like me. It looks terrible. Anyways, so here's a quick save feature. This is the same menu. I reuse this menu because I want to save time, so you'll see this menu a few times. Okay, so quick save. So even if I kill the game, oh, another thing is that you notice there's a small button in the middle of the screen that says tap to start. The reason why I made a small button and not tap the whole screen to start is because I realized a lot of people spam tapping the phone, and that will skip the screen entirely, and they won't be able to see the title, they won't be able to hear the awesome intro music, and they won't be able to see the delete save stuff. So I decided to make it a little harder for them to skip this screen. Just put the button in the middle. Okay, see, we're left off where... Oh. Anyways, so the quick save feature worked, but it only works once. So if you're playing this game, if you die, don't expect to start back where you last quick save. You're going to start back from the beginning of the dungeon with all your loot lost. Anyways, this is the battle. I had thought a lot about how to implement this. Originally, I thought that there would be like a character on the edge of the battlefield, like an actual... You're looking from top down and you see the guy's head, and he's like walking around the edge of the battlefield, and you have to use your cards to hit him, and then he will rotate, and then your hero would be the exact opposite of the enemy. So if the enemy goes up here, then your hero will go up here, and then you have to attack. The enemy has to attack this side, and you have to attack that side. But that seemed too much work, and I was afraid that if I did that, then I won't be able to release the game. I also thought about if your hero can walk around and like shake the board a bit, and then the cards will like fall in the direction that you shake. You can like push and pull cards. But again, I thought about that, and I was like, maybe if I implemented that feature, I wouldn't be able to release the game. So now what we have is a super simple game. Each character has 4 numbers. That's the power of that side. And if you reduce any side to 0, that card dies. And you see there's health down here. This is the face, or in like Hearthstone. You can attack the face if you attack outside the edge. Like if you up here, left, 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 down, 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 right, right, right. So right here you can see I can attack the outside of the edge. And if I go like that, you'll see the animation from the card go up to the card they're attacking. So I'm gonna skip turn, so to show the enemy attacking my face. See, the enemy attack my face. And this is a bug. I can't believe I didn't find this. Oh well. Yeah, one interesting thing is I used to be a functional QA tester, but for this game, I actually did less QA than any of the games I've ever tested in as a QA tester. In fact, I tested this game less than a single day of normal QA testing. So let me try that again. So I'm gonna... Yep. That's not good. So I know what the bug is, but I already published the game, so whatever. So this game sucks anyways, no one's gonna play it. Oh, at least when you drag it out, then the card disappears, so you can't play the same card twice. So it's an aesthetic bug. I'm pretty sure there are other bugs. But this is the only 3D animated model in the entire game. I pulled it out of free assets, so if you like this guy, go get it on the asset store. He's there. So I needed a way to let the person know that they're on the bottom floor, right? So if they're on the bottom floor, instead of looking for exit down, they need to look for boss. So I also added audio cues to point which direction the boss is in, so you can sort of listen if the boss makes noise. So, right, so you can hear where the boss is coming from. Oh, another thing that's interesting about game development is I found that some people don't notice UI. They get really lost in UI. Like, if you change a value, if you don't make it flash, nobody's gonna notice. So, for example, when I first did this game, these weren't flashing. See these buttons? And if you attack, you can see an animation, and then you don't see the number flash and stuff like that. So if you take a look at the enemy number right here, see the number went big and small. If the number didn't do that, it feels weird. Like, I didn't know how much validation that visual validation that people needed for playing games until I started making a game. You really need to put cues so people can get a sense of feedback that they did something, you know. Otherwise, it was like, oh, was it broken? Was it a bug? You know, you have to make it look less like a glitch. So, oh yes, about bosses in this game. In later bosses, the enemy has very high health. So one thing I found about this game was it was super easy to just rush the enemy health and just reduce it to 0, and there was no purpose in actually attacking enemy cards. So in order to fix that, the first boss you can attack the face, but the last boss you definitely cannot rush the face, because what will happen is you won't be able to finish off the boss, and the enemy will occupy every single slot, and you won't be able to put cards and attack the face anymore. So and if you notice, the enemies have random health. What I did was in bosses, the enemy has 9 cards, and I have a pool of total power. Like, every boss has a combined power of a certain amount, and I split the power randomly along each card and along each side. So some card may be weak, some card may be strong, some card may be the strong side. It's all randomized, and I don't really like random, but if you are a single game developer, it's sometimes difficult to do custom tweaked gameplay. Like, if you want to manually put in everything, it takes time and you need to test and tweak it. So if it's random, maybe it won't be so good, but maybe you'll be able to get out your game faster and get worse reviews, but I'm okay with that. In fact, I'll be really surprised if anyone plays this game. I mean, it's hard to even call it a game. It's more like it's like below shovelware. Anyways, so I'm very generous with how many cards I give after a boss battle. I want to encourage people to do boss battles, because otherwise we could just grind the dungeon and then yep. As you can see, I reuse this screen a lot. Nothing wrong with that. As you can see, the background of this battle is basically the title screen. Oh, there was another weird bug I found yesterday after I released the game, where the enemy can attack itself in this confusion. But I was like, okay, I'm okay with that. Sort of makes sense. So yeah, this game has ads, but it's completely optional. It doesn't have any paid feature though. Like, you can't buy anything from the store. Because this game is so minimalistic, I feel bad for taking people's money. So maybe if I make a better game, I will put a DLC store. People seem to hate DLC these days. Great, so now we finished the beginner dungeon. The mansion is now unlocked. And we should have upgraded cards. So you can see the card level went up a bit. Alright, okay, let's go to the mansion. So this track, I wrote it for someone called Seraphim Swordmaster. It was for his Deceit X Justice series. I think he released the game. I'm not sure. He worked on the game for a few years, but I didn't get notification that he actually released it. Maybe it's finished, maybe it's not. But I'm gonna borrow this track because I'm too lazy to write a new track for this game. Yeah, if you want to listen to the music for this game, most of it is already on this channel, so I mean, if you really want to listen to the music, just go to my channel and find the appropriate track. Otherwise, you can download this game. You can give this game a 1-star rating, I don't care. It shows at least you had the the interest to take a look at it. And that's more than enough for me. I'm not asking for much. See, I attacked the enemy face and just super easy. So I wasn't very happy with that, but so I tried to change the boss so that you can't just attack the face. So I'm gonna try to attack the enemy cards this time, and I'll probably die because I only have 4 cards. And in fact, I should probably leave the dungeon and then get new cards. Oh, I'll just attack the face. I had trouble finding the right sound effects for the attack. I had to combine a few sound effects because the ones I got for free didn't have one that felt right. Anyways, so now the enemy has 30 health. I don't know if I can rush it. Probably, we'll see. Yep, I don't think I can rush it. I'm dead. Well, whatever. At least you get to see game over screen. So ideally for this boss, you should find the 2 new cards in this dungeon, and then you'll have higher health and 6 cards to play. So. Yeah, I'm too lazy to put even a game over background, just game over. Great, so I think that's pretty much it. I can talk about the random dungeon generation. How is it done? So I start in the middle of a dungeon or in a random. Okay, I'll talk a little bit the dungeon. Okay, so here is a map on the bottom left of the screen. That's randomly generated. See? So I take a grid of a certain size. The more advanced the dungeon, the larger the grid. I start from a random slot, then I push out randomly. So I take this as the base, and I just think, okay, so push a random direction, then take another random tile and push a random direction. But I found that just gave me really large rooms, and I didn't want large rooms. I want like mazes. So in later dungeons, what I did was I take any random tile, push a random directions, a random number of times in a row. So maybe you can push 1 or push 2 or push 3. So later you just can have like push 5 up here, push 5 up here, push 3 here, push 1 here, and then push maybe 1 here, and then push 2 down. So you'll get chains of hallways, and that made it a lot easier for me to have not just one huge room, right? Because right here, you have sort of like one huge room. Yep. So, but this is one of the earlier dungeons. Also, the treasure chests are randomly generated. So, in the earlier dungeons, you have like 1 chest per room. But then in later dungeons, I put like 3 or 4 chests. And the chests are also random. The loot is randomized. So, I give 5 shards per chest. Yep. And you can't click these because this is not this right menu. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Thank you for taking a look. If you have any questions about how I made this game, just feel free to ask. If you want to check it out, I really thank you for that. You don't have to leave a good review. I mean, the game isn't good, so better be honest. I don't even rate my game because I've seen other people, they rate their game 5 stars. It's like the best game ever. It's like, that's, you're kind of shelling yourself out, you know? If the game isn't good, I'm not gonna rate it. I wonder if anything else to say. Well, anyways, leave the questions in the comment below, and I will make another video of this game, but in my other channel, which is Truly Stupid Gaming. So I'll play it from a gamer's perspective, not from a indie perspective. Thank you very much. See you next time.